What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV. So the Canon 6D, Canon's lightest and cheapest new full-frame DSLR, just announced days after the Nikon D600, and the battle between Nikon and Canon continues. It's just like Nikon releases a new DSLR and Canon immediately releases a comparative model on their side, and that's amazing for the consumer because you've got some variety there. Now I did an overview and comparison of the Nikon D600 with the Nikon D800 just a few days ago. You can hit the link here and check it out. And in this video, I'm going to be comparing the Nikon D600 to the Canon 6D, which has just been announced, and I'm going to be looking at the key features and the key differences between the two cameras. Now obviously until I've actually got the two cameras in my hand, I'm not going to be able to do a full comparison, but this should hopefully give you guys a good idea of the key differences in terms of specifications. So I'm going to get straight to the key features. Firstly, megapixels. Obviously the D600 24.3 megapixels full frame sensor, the Canon 6D 20.2 megapixels, just 4 megapixels between the two. Not a massive deal, especially for me. I don't think that's a huge deal in terms of the megapixels between the two cameras. I think the most important thing is that they're both full frames, which is very cool. In terms of autofocus, the D600 has a 39-point AF system with 9 cross-type points. The Canon 6D just has 11 autofocus points with 1 cross-type point, and I mean, on a full-frame DSLR, just 11 points are very disappointing for me. I think this will probably be a deal breaker for a lot of people out there because you know, the Canon 5D Mark III has 61 points, so I mean, at least Canon could have done, you know, given the 6D some more autofocus points, because I think that's a significant difference between the two cameras here. But anyway, let's carry on. The D600, in terms of the ISO range, you've got between 100 and 6400, expandable to 25,600. In terms of the Canon 6D, you've got between 100 and 25,600 as standard, expandable to a massive 102,400. I don't know why. I don't know who would shoot that stage. It's just absolutely crazy because you'll be getting some serious noise. But in terms of the ISO performance, the Canon 6D does come up on top here. And obviously in terms of performance itself, we'd have to compare the images side by side. But on paper, the Canon 6D is better on here. Continuous shooting, the Nikon D600 has 5.5 frames a second. In comparison, the Canon 6D has just the 4.5 frames a second. Just 1 frame difference. Not huge for me personally. Obviously, the Nikon D600 has the advantage here. Storage. Okay, now this is quite interesting because the Nikon D600 has twin SD card slots. The 6D just has a single SD card slot. Again, another disappointment for me here because, you know, you're looking at a full frame DSLR. I mean, I would have expected to have 2 SD card slots, especially because of the file sizes and, you know, having a backup, etc. If you're going to be doing it professionally, you want to have some backup, and just having that single SD card slot, another kind of disappointment for me. Moving on anyway. The D600 has 150,000 cycle shutter durability, whereas the 6D has 100,000 cycle shutter durability. So you're going to get about 50% more lifespan with the Nikon D600 in comparison to the 6D. Max shutter speed, the D600 has 1/4000th of a second maximum shutter speed. The 6D has a maximum of 1/8000th of a second, so the 6D obviously clear winner in terms of the maximum shutter speed. Okay, now here's another thing. This might not be important to to many people out there, but the D600 does have a pop-up flash. The Canon 6D does not have a pop-up flash, so it doesn't have a built-in flash on board. Now I know personally I use a speed light usually anyway. However, it is useful sometimes when you're in a situation and you don't want to really bump up the ISO so much and you just want to use that onboard flash. And the Canon 6D does not have this. Again, it's been cut. I think a lot of these features have been cut out to make the camera a bit more compact, but it's not there on the 6D. In terms of video, now this is where Canon usually have the edge, but there's some interesting things in here, so I'm going to run through the specs really quickly. In terms of the recording formats, you've got 1080p at 24, 25 and 30 frames a second. That's on both the cameras, as well as a maximum of 50 to 60 frames a second on the 720p setting as well. In terms of max recording length, all right, the D600 will let you film for a maximum time of 20 minutes at full HD and 29 minutes and 59 seconds at 720p. The 6D will let you film at 29 minutes and 59 seconds at full HD 1080p. So clearly the the Canon 6D does have the advantage in terms of max recording length here. The Nikon cameras come with a crop mode, a multi-area crop mode, some of you may know, which is an FX and DX crop. Not hugely important, but it is very useful. I find it very useful. It lets you crop in 1.5 times to your subject while maintaining that same resolution. So it's quite useful if you want to kind of come in closer to the subject that you're filming on. The 6D does not have this. Moving on, the clean HDMI output. Now obviously this is a big advantage that Nikon cameras have over Canon cameras right now, is where you can connect the D600 right now to an external recording device and have an uncompressed clean feed which you can record, and this also bypasses the recording limit as well, so that's one thing to bear in mind. The Canon 6D, you can't do this, however it does have all-eye compression, so you're going to get a very high compression rate. So in terms of bitrate, if I'm not mistaken, it's up to about 90 megabits per second, which is pretty high on camera. So in terms of the recording on camera, the 6D is going to give you better quality, a higher bit rate, and but you don't have the option of the HDMI out. Mic in, pretty standard feature on all DSLRs these days. Both cameras have a mic in, which is quite useful. However, the D600 has an headphone out as well as audio levels, but the 6D, although it has audio levels, it does not have an audio out. It doesn't have a headphone out. Again, something else that's on a lot of the full-frame DSLRs these days. I'm not sure why they've not got it. I believe the 600D also has a headphone out, or one of the other Canon entry-level models. I'm not sure why they've not put this in the 6D again, another sort of downside. Anyway, moving on, in terms of the weight, the D600 760 grams, the 6D is 690 grams or 770 grams of the battery. Now, in terms of the D600, I'm not sure if that's with or without battery. The 760 grams, it's not fully made clear, but both cameras very light, very compact, which is a big advantage when you're filming at, when you're shooting at full frame. Having that compact kind of size and weight, very useful, obviously. In terms of the wireless transfer and the GPS, this is a big advantage on the Canon 6D. You've got built-in Wi-Fi wireless transfer as well as GPS, whereas the Nikon D600 you have to buy additional accessories. For instance, for the wireless transfer, you have to get a WU1B adapter. Now, what the wireless transfer would allow you to do is transfer your files wirelessly to a mobile phone or a tablet, and also give you some controls, remote controls on the camera from your device as well, which is pretty useful. Obviously, the thing is, I've not seen the Canon one in example, so it would be good to actually see a demo somewhere for that. Okay, moving on to the final and probably the most important aspect for most people is the price. The body only for the Nikon D600 is £1,955 or $2,100. The 6D comes in at £1,799 or $2,099.99. In terms of dollars, pretty similar. Both of them are pretty much the same. However, for pounds, the 6D is slightly cheaper. I mentioned this in my previous comparison video. I'm not sure why they've got such a little gap between the pounds and dollars in terms of the D600. It should be something around £1,800, definitely. So I'm not sure why this is. I'm not sure if it's going to change later on, but this is the current price that's advertised. To summarize then, those were some of the key features. I'll be completely honest, personally the 6D has disappointed me on a few aspects, such as the autofocus and the single SD card slot. So I just like some of those features I think are very, very important, and I don't know why they've missed this out on the 6D. Maybe to make it more compact, I don't know. And based on this, I would be leaning more towards the Nikon D600 side. However, obviously the 6D does have its advantages, so I guess it really depends up to you. I know if you're used to Canons, you probably will go with Canon, or if you're used to Nikons, you may go with this. But I hope this video has given you a bit of a better idea of the differences between the two cameras. What I will try to do is try to get hold of both of the cameras. I'll be contacting a few places, and I'll try to bring you guys a full in-depth review, hands-on, and also comparison. There may have been a few small differences that I've missed out. If I have, drop me a comment below, and when I do a full review, then I'll make sure I include those as well. What are your views on the cameras? Would you go for the Nikon D600, or would you go for the Canon 6D? Drop me a comment below, let me know, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button, it really does help me out, and do subscribe to the channel. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.